full-scale investigations into the matter. Giba accuses Ministry of Communications of attacking media freedom by doctoring standards for free-to-air television access approved by the Ghana Standards Authority.
Blocking access to public service free-to-air television networks raises serious constitutional concerns relating to the freedom of the media and the right to information.
We have details, and that's about 11 more unposted teacher trainees arrested by police for picketing at the Ghana Education Service premises, even though they maintain they were invited to resolve matters about their postings.
The teachers on their own, without recourse to law and order, decided to come here and disturb. We will not promote or.
And in business, bank loans pick up compared to investment in government papers and securities.
And later in sports, Asante Kotoko condemns the misbehavior of some fans on Sunday, which led to the shooting of a fan after their Premier League game against Bekum Chelsea.
And also, we hear what motivated newest social media sensation Bosom Piyong to hit the studios to record his viral Atajwa tune, which has got everyone talking.
Atajwa broke my heart. I just trusted her too much. I just went to the studio one time. Me being alone, I started remembering things. In my emotions, I just picked everything on the beat.
I love you and so.
Want to join us with your views and comments on that story and more? Send me a WhatsApp 0244340437. My name is Mensah.
And I am Emefa Apawu. Newsnight is brought to you by Puma Card from Puma Energy, cash-free convenience. In our very first story for this evening, Northern Regional Minister Said Salifu is tonight dismissing claims by dismissed CEO of the Northern Development Authority that an NPP-linked group stole over 400 tricycles belonging to the authority on his orders. He's finally breaking his silence on the weeks-old controversy in a statement earlier today.
Well, the Kandahar boys allegedly forcibly took the tricycles away without the authorities' consent, reportedly on the orders of the regional minister. Now, former chief executive officer of the authority, Dr. Abdul Majid Maroon, filed a police complaint over the missing bikes. Joseph Opoku-Gapo joins us with a statement from the Northern Regional Minister. What does he say?
So it's 6-paragraph statement, and he begins by making the point that it's actually come to his attention that there's a letter circulating in which the dismissed chief executive officer of the Northern Development Authority, Dr. Alhaji Abdul Majid Haroon, has claimed that he had actually directed that some tricycles be picked from the NDA yard, that's the Northern Development Authority's yard, and that he wishes to state categorically and unequivocally that I did not direct any one or group of persons or company to pick any item from the premises of the NDA yard in the name of the Northern Regional Coordinating Council. The regional minister goes on to say, for the records, I was the same person who ensured the protection of the said items upon my appointment until the appointment of the CEO of the Northern Development Authority. And he goes on to say that the said claim being purported by the letter from the former boss of the Northern Development Authority and Kevin Taylor's report is false and a palpable lie. He says this is an attempt to soil my hard-earned reputation and also the hard work that he has done, and that if I was really behind the pickup of the tricycles, I would have written formally to the Northern Development Authority, giving clear directions and locations to deposit the said items. He goes on to say that as the head of the Regional Security Council, there was the need for the chief executive officer who had access to him to verify before allowing the so-called assignees of his to come pick up the tricycles from him as claimed. And he goes on to say he joins the call for the NDA to, as a matter of urgency, open a full-scale investigation into the entire tricycles matter dating back to 2016 in accordance with the laid down procedures and laws. And in the concluding paragraph, he says he also wants to add that no one is above the law, and as a law-abiding citizen, criminals, irrespective of their political lineage, must be dealt with accordingly. And this is signed by the Northern Regional Minister, Salifu Said.
And like we rightly said, this is a weeks-old controversy and is still raging. But give us a brief background on this matter.
And so the bikes reportedly had been taken by a youth group linked to the NPP, more than 400 of them, and distributed. And as a result of that, the dismissed chief executive officer of the Northern Development Authority wrote to the police claiming that this is something that he thought needed to be investigated, and the police have since commenced investigation into the issue. Mohammed Tanko, who is the Northern Regional Police PRO, tells us they are inviting more officials of the Northern Development Authority to appear before them as the investigations proceed.
So police started investigations into that matter, and a letter was sent to invite the chief executive officer to assist in investigation. He gave us statement that was on the 12th of December. And after the statement, we wrote to him based on the statement that he gave us, inviting certain people to be released from the authority to come and assist with police investigation. Okay. That letter was sent on the that letter was sent on the 12th, and it was on the same 12th that his appointment was terminated. Luckily for us, we have contacted the new chief executive officer who has promised to release those people to assist with the investigations from 10th, because as of now, most of them are still on holiday. So police in the region, headed by the regional crime officer, is conducting very serious investigations into that matter.
Do we know how these 400 tricycles got stolen?
That is why we are conducting investigations. If we knew how they got missing, we would have gone straight to arrest the persons who took them. So be patient, give us time, and what I've narrated to you indicate that we have taken steps that are necessary to uncovering how those tricycles got missing from the authorities' premises. Okay,
there are rumors that these tricycles were stolen, and there's a group that is linked to this missing or this stolen tricycle, the Kandahar boys. Have you been able to pick any leads on that?
Yeah, we are conducting investigations, and the tricycles were on the premises of the authority. So we have contacted the chief executive officer. He had mentioned some people who we think needed to assist us with investigations. We have invited them, and come 10th, those persons will be released to assist us with investigations. So just be patient. If somebody is mentioned and it is direct that the person might know something about the missing bikes, surely we will let the public know, and we'll also go after that person or group of persons.
It's been more than 3 months?
Yes, I told you when the report came to us, we contacted the authority through the chief executive officer. He gave us statement. After giving us the statement, we wrote to him for him to release some persons to assist with the investigation, and it was on the same day that his appointment was terminated.
And that's the Northern Regional Police PRO in that interview with my colleague Matilda somewhere last week. But we've been joined on the phone by our correspondent Ilyasu Tanko. He's been following closely this particular issues and joins us on the line. So 3 months down the line, Ilyasu, you've been working your sources. Do we know the status of these motorbikes?
Well, officially, not from the party communication sources, and also not from the regional minister's office, but we have been told by multiple sources that the bikes have been given to mostly party youth, and they are working with them. In fact, we have been able to get our sources to confirm to us that some of the bikes are currently in Nalirgu especially, and also in Tamale, where this particular motorcycle have been cited by multiple people, including myself, many youth commercially using these bikes around. So even though we have not had confirmation from the police who are investigating this matter, and also the party, which is also taking keen interest into this particular matter because of the allegation of impropriety, and also because of the allegation that the president might have fired the CEO because he reported this particular matter to the police. And so on that score, the NPP party has been closely monitoring this particular event, and they have not also confirmed to us this particular latest information, but sources, including those who are owning this particular motorbikes, have confirmed to us that what we've been seeing driven around commercially in town are these motorbikes that were said to be missing from the NDA yard in Tamale.
And the status of the police investigations remain the same. No arrests, and not even one of the bikes have been retrieved.
Exactly. So you heard the police PRO saying that they've written to the authority to come officially and properly identify these individuals that were accused in that particular allegation. They mentioned the fired CEO mentioned one Mr. Samba, and he also mentioned a deputy CEO of the authority, and also two national security agencies. Their identity has not been fully disclosed to us, and so the police are still waiting for the authority leaders to come forward and properly identify these individuals so that they can move in, invite them and take their statements.
Now, following this latest statements from the Northern Regional Minister, I'm sure you've been working your sources within Dr. Abdul Majid Harun's quarters. Have we picked up any information as to how he's feeling about all this?
Well, I've been trying to reach Dr. Abdul Harun Majid on several occasions. And on one occasion, he responded to my message, and I want to read it. Of a quote he said, unfortunately, he said, Ilyasu, I thank you for your continued interest in my affairs. Unfortunately, my view is that in politics, the one that has the right to appoint also has the right to remove the appointee. I was never told the reason why I was appointed, and have for that reason not asked the reason for my removal. And this is the response that I got from Dr. Harun Majid, basically, trying not to make any public comment on that particular matter.
That's our correspondent, Ilyasu Tanko. Thank you very much. We've been working the lines also to speak to the Northern Regional Minister. It's been unsuccessful so far, as in when we're able to, we'll speak to him.
So listening to News Night is on Joy 99.7 FM. Now, the Ghana Independent Broadcasters Association, GIBA, is accusing the Ministry of Communications of attacking media freedom by doctoring standards for free-to-air television access approved by the Ghana Standards Authority.
Now, in a statement, GIBA claimed the requirement for free-to-air broadcasting expected after Ghana migrates onto the digital terrestrial platform has been changed unilaterally by the Communications Ministry. The association warns the moves by the Communications Ministry will lock down the liberalized airwaves and send the nation back to the dark days of government monopolized and controlled media. Joseph Opoku-Gakpo joins me with more on this. Joseph, what exactly is the background to this issue?
And so there's been the ongoing conversation for some years now about Ghana migrating onto a digital platform when it comes to broadcasting of television. And according to GIBA, the latest effort in that regard is something that they see as an attempt to implement very dramatic changes in television broadcasting, which GIBA says would create a situation where the airwaves would be locked down and send the nation back to the dark days in terms of how the media is being governed generally. They make the point that on the 18th of December 2019, GIBA welcomed a revised standard on the digital terrestrial television and also what they call the direct-to-home receivers, which was published by the Ghana Standards Authority. But subsequent to that, they've seen a publication on the website of the Ministry of Communication, which the ministry put out in consultation with some consultants, which they say have come out with an alarming publication, which is a doctored version of the Ghana Standard Authority's newly gazetted and published technical standard, which they had all agreed on, which is what they are raising the concerns about. And they say that the latest requirement would require that there's a special decoder which would be controlled by a conditional access software, which is being introduced by a third-party company, which is exactly what they are not comfortable as far as its introduction is concerned. And they think that when it's introduced, it will result in a general clampdown when it comes to the national media space. Hence, they think that the NCA should endeavor, and also the Ministry of Communication should endeavor to go back to the original agreement that was actually put out in collaboration with the Ghana Standards Authority.
So in all this, though, knowing the concerns that they've raised, did they say the key role that the Ghana Standards Authority is playing in all this?
They think that the Standards Authority, that's the organization that's supposed to come up with standards when it comes to how some of these broadcasting is done, and so the Ministry of Communication should stick to what they published instead of trying to go by a doctored version of that, as they claim, when it comes to the standards that they would be implementing these digital migration processes by.
Let's speak to the president of GIBA, Mr. Andrew Danso Eninkra. We're grateful for your time here on Newsnight. Let's speak plain man's language. What exactly is going on?
Well, I wish the ministry would explain that particular aspect, because as far as we were concerned, we thought that when it is an issue of standards, then we have the authorized body which is supposed to bring out the standards, which they have done. In doing so, they did it in consultation with other stakeholders. The Ministry of Communication was well represented on the committee. The National Communication Authority was represented on the committee. What we find quite interesting is the formation or the existence of a company that we were not aware of. What kind of authority they have and to what extent they can change standards without having to go through the necessary process or procedures. And then the involvement of the stakeholders. That is what is beating our mind at the moment. And that is what we are calling to question what this company in particular is. The National Digital Television Transmission Company. We haven't heard of it. We don't know how it came into existence and where it exists, how much power, authority, who the controllers, who the directors are, and how they could change standards. They could write to the NCA, and without discussion, without mentioning to anybody, it becomes a kind of a standard in the country which affects the whole country. I mean, that's a bit bizarre, and that is what we are questioning at the moment.
You are then accusing the Ministry of Communications of stifling media freedom. Why is that?
Of course, when you have a platform which does not have representation, and that particular platform that is unknown can come in immediately to issue standardization overnight, when the one who has been authorized to supervise this activity has finished his work and published what, in fact, gazetted what we thought was the standard for everybody to move with. Then you have an organization which is working under the ministry, comes up and changes everything overnight and publish the same thing. We think we are going back. And if you are speaking to the ministry, the representative of the people, and they are not responding to the people, we think we've gone back. So that is what we are talking about.
Very well, Mr. Eninkra, we're grateful for your time. But just before I let you off, then, what would you expect the Ghana Standards Authority to do about this particular challenge?
The Ghana Standards Authority have spoken. We are not expecting the Ghana Standards Authority to do anything at the moment, but what we are rather expecting the ministry to do is to tell us exactly what they are up to tell us who the consultants are and what the interest of the consultants in our affairs is. Because we have stated clearly, we are the people in the country. We are the people. We have the technical know-how. We understand what is going on. And we have stated our point, our position. We have presented documents upon documents to the ministry. If the ministry wants to listen to the people they are serving, the people have spoken and they have said, we want it done this way. Now, what is the authority and the mandate of the consultant who is coming from outside and does not understand even the traditions of the people here to influence and to speak, and that becomes a law overnight? These are things we want the ministry to respond to. And if they're not responding, then agitates our mind, and we don't know why they are doing this if it is not for some particular interest they don't want to share with us.
We are grateful. We are still working the lines. As and when we are able to reach the Ministry of Communications on this issue, we'll get some more answers from them. You're still listening to Newsnight here on Joy 99.7 FM. Do join us with what you've heard so far. Your thoughts on 0244 340 437. Remember, we are also live on Facebook. Let's head to the Ashanti region now. This is a topical issue that's been raging since last night, and we are learning that the Asante Kotoko fan who was shot at the Babayara Sports Stadium during the Ghana Premier League match this weekend has his right eye severely damaged.
And Asante Kotoko themselves tonight issued a statement. We're going to that shortly for you, but we've been working our sources at CAF just to get an update on the fun for those football lovers who were worried by the incident yesterday. We understand that as far as the doctors are concerned, they are waiting for a specialist to travel in to sort of give a proper assessment of the damage to the eye. The patient, identified as Augustine Upon, was shot by the police during the match day 3 of the Ghana Premier League. We understand that he was hit by four bullets from in the head, 2 in his left jaw, 1 directly also in his right eye, and 1 beneath his teeth. Police in the Ashanti region has interdicted the officer who allegedly shot the football fan. Love FM's sports editor Delali Atese has more in this report.
We are currently at the Konfanochi Teaching Hospital. We are specifically at the emergency unit where a Kumasi Asante Kotoko fan who was hit by a rubber bullet yesterday at the Babayara Sports Stadium is being hospitalized. We've been inside the ward. We've had opportunity to speak to the doctors on duty, and what they tell us is that the right eye of the patient, who we now know is known as Kosiopon, is damaged. Now, by Dr. Force, dear Pan and Siciano, Ayano.
And dear Mambusa, Dr. Fon and Hosan Biandri.
Now, only know what I'm saying.
We have 2 children.
No, mammy.
90 Cicia Dahay. What did you Munema saying?
He's our only breadwinner, so we don't have anyone to take care of us.
And what a man, and then the bit.
I heard the incident this morning and rushed to find out how he's faring, but I don't know if the bullet has really damaged his eye.
That's why.
He's a trotro driver.
We are partners, and the police is there to also to support the club and even supporting us all this while. It's unfortunate that this issue happened yesterday, and I'm sure justice will also be given to the victim, because I see no reason why the policeman had to shoot him, because even if you are giving or you're firing a warning shots are supposed to be fired into the air and not onto the face of a human being. So we condemn the whole act, and we hope that justice will be given to the victim.
If you say justice given to the victim, what exactly do you mean?
Well, we hope that the police administration will investigate the matter, and if the policeman is found culpable, then the loss of the land should deal with him.
Ashanti Regional Police Command has commenced investigation into the unfortunate shooting incident at the Babayara Sports Stadium that left 1 person injured on Sunday, 12 January 2020. The command takes a serious view of this unfortunate incident and has subsequently commenced investigation to the action of the said officer involved in the shooting. The officer has been interdicted on the instruction of the regional commander pending investigation. The incident occurred when supporters of Kumasi Asante Kotoko FC went on rampage after their league match against Brekum Chelsea FC at the stadium, damaging some police vehicles and injuring some police officers with stones that were pelted at the police. It was during this period that a police officer was alleged to have shot rubber bullets into the crowd, injuring one of the fans in the face. The injured person is currently on admission at the Konfanochi Teaching Hospital, receiving treatment and in stable condition.
So from the Konfanochi Teaching Hospital, my name is Delali Atiasa reporting.
Nanaya Asenso has also been working his sources on this, also what the authorities there plan to do further beyond what the police have already done on this particular side. We'll also be hearing from Asante Kotoko shortly. Nana, you've been working your sources at CAF. What would we just heard from the police say that the victim is in stable condition? Is that still the case right now?
Yes, today we went to the hospital around 9 a.m. in the morning, and then we went to the ward. We saw the victim, Kosi Opon or Augustine Opon, lying on the hospital bed. From the look of things, he was struggling, obviously. But the doctors we spoke to told us that he is responding to treatment. We saw his right eye bandaged completely, and then he was actually suffering from where I was standing. But the doctors told us that he is responding to treatment. That they are waiting on an eye specialist to come and then to confirm whether his right eye will be able to see again, or let's say it's completely damaged. So that is what our sources are telling us. But quite some few hours ago, I spoke to my source from the hospital, and then he also confirmed that Kwasi Paul, the victim, is responding to treatment.
And that's Nanayo Asenso there joining us, our correspondent. But let's speak with the public relations officer of Kotoko, Kennedy Boakye Ansah. We're grateful for your time here on Newsnight. I see in your statement that you're condemning the act, but really you're also liaising with the police in terms of investigations. What has come up so far in terms of preliminary findings? Hello, Kennedy.
Hi, good evening.
Thanks for your time here on Newsnight. So I'm saying that I know you're liaising with the police in terms of investigations, and I'm asking what may have come up so far in terms of preliminary findings.
Marisa, thanks for having me on your show this evening, and thanks for the opportunity to speak on Joy FM this evening. I am extremely sad now because I was just listening to the soundbite from the police service that some police vehicles were destroyed. It is never true because I was there. I saw everything for myself. No police vehicle was destroyed at the Babaya Sports Stadium yesterday. I actually told one of the police drivers who was driving a Toyota Tundra to move the vehicle to the inner perimeter of the stadium. So it is never true that any police vehicle was destroyed yesterday. It's a lie. It's a big lie. I feel the police service must be responsible. I think they should also get their facts right. I was there. I saw everything for myself. We condemn the whole incident, but the truth must be told.
But it appears you have concerns about, you were saying that you were there, you saw it all, you have concerns about how the police actually handled the matter. Tell us what you saw.
I would admit that there was some unruly behavior after the game. Way before the game, we saw signs that some of the supporters were extremely angry as a result of the performance of the match officials for yesterday's game. I personally went into the inner perimeter of the stadium with a colleague management member and one supporter of the team. He's called Junior. We went to the inner perimeter to calm down the nerves of the supporters. After the game, I was actually driving towards the cash office at the Papaya Sports Stadium, and then I saw the gunshot. As at that time, there were no stones being thrown at the policemen on duty at the stadium yesterday. It was after the victim had been sent to the Confirmatory Teaching Hospital. That was when the supporters' anger actually rose to a different level altogether. But I'm saying that before the incident, because my sister, the thing is that the match officials had been put in the police anti-riot vehicle, and I see no need for the gunshot to have been fired, because the officials were in safe grounds. They were in the anti-riot police van at the stadium yesterday. So why the gunshot? But like I'm saying, like what we said in the statement, we liaise with the police service to unravel this whole mystery. It's extremely sad because I'm not sure the victim actually expected as such an issue actually before him. But we've been cooperating with the police service. As a club, we've also been offering our media support to the victim. We were there last night. The police service, led by the Deputy Ashanti Regional Police Commander, was also at the Confirmatory Teaching Hospital last night. This morning, we had a meeting, and then we jointly went to visit the victim as well. But Kotoko will take care of the victim. All his medical bills will be footed by the club, and then beyond that, whatever form of support that we need to give to him, we'll actually do so for him. Because the club actually belongs to the supporters, and without the supporters, there's no Kotoko.
And that's the point I'm coming to. We'll interrogate the police's actions, and of course, we've had the police take the decision to interdict this officer already. But elsewhere, when these such hooligans take over and cause chaos in the stadium or outside, the clubs take responsibility. And in dealing with the unruly supporters, some of those identified are either issued a lifetime ban from the stadium. We saw that, as you have said, some of your supporters decided to take matters into their own hands because of the way the game had panned out. What is it that Kotoko itself is willing to do internally about these supporters you possibly were there and possibly had seen, who decided to turn a football game into a scene for hooligans to just have a field day?
I think we need to educate our supporters, not just Kotoko supporters, but the general football public in the country, and that football will forever have three outcomes: you win, you lose, or you draw. And whichever result, if you win, you can, hallelujah, you have won. You can celebrate. If you lose, you might have to go back to the cricket drawing board, restrategize and come back better. And I said we need to come home this message to our supporters and any other person who is actually related to football in the country. But I also feel that all other stakeholders must also be on top of our job when it comes to issues of crowd control. Today it is football, today it is Kotoko. But we've also had some of these incidents actually happening at other venues. My concern is my Babaya sports then where Kotoko play her matches. So we actually educate our supporters and also liaise about the relevant stakeholders to ensure that there's peace, absolute peace on match days. It's unfortunate that this issue happened yesterday.
I'm grateful that you joined us. That is the spokesperson for the Kotoko Football Club. And if you're one of those who supports Kotoko, I'm sure you'd be pretty sad. And just a love of football. When a football match tends to silence, somebody is on the brink of losing his eye and possibly serious injuries as well. He's not the only person, though, who suffered from what we've heard. Other people also got injured in the process. But his is pretty severe. We're keeping an eye on how he's faring at the hospital. We're also trying to get the police to speak to them about this controversy about the vehicles that allegedly were destroyed.
Well, the National Sports Authority have also issued a statement on this particular issue, and it says that prior to the commencement of the 2019-2020 Ghana Premier League, the National Sports Authority issued a press statement to caution fans on possible sanctions that could be applied for misconduct at various league centres. What happened at the Babayara Sports Stadium during the aforementioned match, which resulted in a fan being shot by a police officer, is unacceptable and should be condemned by all stakeholders. It concludes by saying that we wish to use this medium to assure the general public that appropriate sanctions will be applied to anyone found guilty in this matter after full investigations has been conducted. And that's signed by Charles Obenyamufa, who is head of public relations of the National Sports Authority.
Later on Newsnight.
Apawu broke my heart. I just trusted her too much. I just went to the studio one time. Me being alone, I started remembering things. In my emotions, I just put everything on the beat.
I love you and so.
And we'll hear from the man himself and what motivated.
What's his name?
Bosom Piyang. Whatever that means. George Yafe is here. George, you've been dancing with this to this particular tune in the clubs you've been visiting over the Christmas period. I know. Tell me I'm lying.
But when did this song actually come? You're talking about Christmas period.
Yes, but it's been popping.
I think that the interesting thing is that it has picked up in the clubs, and first you thought it was just an internet sensation, but it has been on the playlist of a lot of the DJs in the pubs and the clubs.
I told you.
You're wrong on that.
Just you say it's a lie. No. How did you know?
No, but
you've been visiting
and the pubs, so obviously you get
George,
your friends told you, eh?
Yes, of
okay,
course.
what's your business?
coming up in business. Now, bank loans ending October 2019 picked up compared to investment in government papers and securities. And the country's development partners are more buoyant about economic growth for this year than even government. We're getting you more details on that one. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Kingdom Books and Stationery, your number one-stop shop for all your office essentials, and also is brought to you by First National Bank. We are the bank that understands your business. First National Bank. How can we help you?
So everyone says I'm a Kosia filler, but it's not like I'm nosy. I'll go out to find out the latest filler. It's just that I get 50 megabytes of data free after paying for only the first minute of every call. And so I just keep discovering stuff minute after minute. That's how come I was minding my business, scrolling through my timeline, and I found out Coco has a new baby. Oh, and last week I learned Ken won the lottery. You see, Ken is my brother's friend. So hello, look who's about to roll with the rich and famous.
Enjoy even more value with MTN Free After One. You only pay for the first minute of your call on MTN Free After One, and the rest is free. Plus, you enjoy free 50 megabytes worth of data to browse your favorite sites. Compare where, compare there. So dial *315# to sign up. We day for you everywhere you go. Terms and conditions apply.
Mr. Bar has big dreams for his business, Bar & Co. Limited, and his family, making them a reality meant long drives and queues. He's lost precious time struggling to pay his suppliers in China, Turkey, India, and other parts of the world. With the First National Bank global payment via our online banking enterprise, he now pays for all that in the convenience of his home or office, giving him time to focus on family and growing his business. Use our online banking enterprise to access Forex when you need it. It takes a bank that does more to help your family. So who's helping yours? First National Bank. How can we help you?
We know it's important to create a productive and supportive working environment by investing in your employees' health. With a leading international track record, Apex Health Insurance is regulated and licensed by the National Health Insurance Authority to provide medical insurance services to institutional clients, families, and individuals. Apex Student Package and International Medical Solutions are all here to cushion you. Visit Apex Health Insurance Office at Zion House, Boundary Road, Shiashi, or call
0501 683 914
or 0232 000 015. In Kumasi, we are located opposite Prempe College, Sofo Line, and in Takrady, Apex Health, your preferred health insurer.
We give you nothing but the best, we stay above the rest. More quality, more affordability. Kingdom Books and Stationery. Everybody's going to the one and only shop where customer satisfaction is a guarantee. Kingdom Books and Stationery.
Oh yes, with our 30 days credit facility with no interest charge, free delivery services, and our free consultation on setting up your office, Kingdom Books and Stationery is unmatched in our delivery of quality and affordable office essentials, equipment, and furniture.
Experience world-class customer service in all our branches in Accra, Tema, Kumasi, Cape Coast, and Takoradi.
Call us on 0302 764 101
or visit our website at www.kingdomgh.com.
Kingdom Books and Stationery, your number one-stop shop for all office essentials and stationery. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back to Business on Newsnight. Now, the total loans advanced by commercial banks ending October 2019 witnessed some significant increase. Now, this is in comparison to the amount of cash that banks have invested in government securities and bonds. Now, the revelation was contained in the latest Bank of Ghana report on the banking sector. Credit to businesses grew by 17.2% to reach 42 billion Ghana cedis, whilst investment in government securities went up by 10% to hit 47 billion Ghana cedis. But banking consultant, that is Dr. Richard Toyani, said the situation could have even been better in terms of credit growth had there been with some challenges in the banking sector. Let's hear his thoughts on this.
If you go into proper lending, the tendency for you is that you're going to burn your fingers. So why don't I buy the investment? And the investment are going, I don't know the rate for the ESLA. What is the one that you issued recently? I don't know the rate. So the banks take interest in going to investment, buying the government bills, government paper, and the bonds. That one is secured. You don't make provision for but if you give a loan, immediately you give a loan of 100 million, you're supposed to make a provision, 1%, although it's not matured yet. But when I take the investment, 19%, it hits on my balance sheet, profit goes up. So the banks are only being rational investors moving there. The reason being is that there is a correlation or a regressional factor. The non-performing has something to do with the people moving into that area. And experience have shown that even as we speak, we hear that some contractors haven't been paid. And when we say they haven't been paid, some of them are as old as 3 years. And if they are on my books, I need to write them off. So instead of going for loans, especially the SMEs or the private sector, I go and buy government bills.
So you place these strong earnings more to buying government papers than just lending to businesses, which would then be a measure of the real sector of the economy doing well and paying back these debts.
If this economic environment was very good, let me even take you back. In 2007, when we declared the non-performing 7%, you were here. People were walking to your offices. Do you want to buy car loan? Do you need car? Yeah. Because at that time, the debts, the non-performing was very low. And banks were faced with the opportunity that, if I lend even at 17 or 18, the treasury bill was 13%. So if I can get a good quality loan of 15%, it is better than treasury bill. But currently we face the other way around. The other way around is that people are not paying the debts. And especially they say government owns service providers and contractors. Who do you want me to put more money in areas where recovery is a challenge?
Dr. Richmond Ituahene is a banking consultant. Now, the country's development partners are kind of more buoyant about prospect for the economy. The latest is the IMF, which in its economic outlook report is projecting a higher growth than what government is expecting. We have more in this Business Desk report.
The IMF is, for instance, projecting a 7.5% end-of-year economic growth for the country this year. This is somewhat higher than the 6.8% the government itself is projecting to realize this year. The World Bank, in the new outlook about Ghana, had also projected some significant economic growth for the country. The development may be sending some good signals to investors about favorable economic outlook for the economy and how that could impact positively on attracting investment into the country. Some research agencies have also projected some exciting times for the economy this year in terms of economic activities picking up strongly this year. It is not clear for now what will be the drivers for this growth, whether it will be the traditional crude oil production or economic activities which will drive the expected growth. The strong pickup may also impact positively on revenue mobilization, a development that help contain the rising debt stock, which has hit 208 billion cedis, and getting the required funds for the necessary development.
And that was a Business Desk report. Now, beverage manufacturing firm Casapreco has begun a new strategy to boost production for its soft drinks and the water business. Now, this follows the opening of a new production line by the company, which is expected to boost efficiency by more than 50%. According to the company, this is part of its expansion program aimed at supporting its corporate social responsibility. Chris Adosakodie is a marketing manager for Casapreco.
Just so that people can have more water at home to drink, and then other people can also have more money in their pockets. So it's basically a promotional thing just to give more value to the retailers and then the consumers. And that's why we have come out with the 16 bottles in a pack with the additional bottle for free. So we expect Ghanaians to be excited about this promotional activity, and certainly we also give our word that we are going to continue with our support to the National Cardiothoracic Center.
Chris Adosakwadie is the marketing manager for Casapreco Awake. And that's all for business on Newsnight.
George, thank you very much. Let's do some of your messages coming through now on our WhatsApp console. This one says, Evans, we would be grateful if the EC will provide evidence, date, time, and manner of delivery, that is email or hard copy, as well as content of the consultant report it says it gave to the parties with respect to the issue. They should have those that information if they really gave out the report. And this is in reference to the controversy over the Electoral Commission's decision to compile a new voters register, and the latest twist to it, which is the that parent document that formed the basis for the EC's decision. The EC says they shared it with the parties. The parties say they do not have it. Even the MPP says they don't have it yet, but they say the EC never said that they had actually shared the details with them.
Now, some more of your messages. This one from Mama G in Kaswa. It says, Muhammad said we should allow EC to do their work in 2016, and now he turns around to sabotage another EC for proper thing should be done. Ghanaians are watching. Demo can't save them, he says. And this one from AU Farouk, Tamale North. He says the Northern Regional Minister should accept it is his angry party supporters that took the tricycles. Ebenezer in Kumasi says the communication team of Kotoko incited the fans against the referee. Immediately, he was pronounced to handle their match against Chelsea. Ghana football has come a long way to be witnessing such a barbaric attitude. They must face a ban and a fine.
Musa says Ashanti Regional Police Command has done well. The police institution should do an introspection to fish out those irresponsible policemen in the system, because the vigilant guys have eventually found a way into police. Hence, the professionalism has been marred, he says.
And Papa Ansainte, she says, going to have fun at the stadium ends up destroying someone's eye. Oh God, help this nation. Some of you have also been commenting on our Facebook live feed, and this one from Peter Che says government officials should be careful about their actions. The Northern Regional Minister should come again. And many of you are telling us where you're watching from. We see you. Let's do some more stories before we go for sports with Benedict. He has details on that incident. Doctors in Ghana have successfully performed the first surgery which saved a pregnant woman diagnosed with cervical cancer and her unborn baby. An easy choice. The medical team which operated on the 41-year-old woman was to abort the 4-month-old pregnancy and remove Agnes Dufie's cancerous cervix and womb. But as highlighted in our latest documentary, Cervix in Crisis by Seth Kwame Boateng, the doctors chose the rather difficult route. Led by obstetric gynecology oncologist at the Komfo-Anokye Teaching Hospital, Dr. Thomas Coney, the doctors decided to rather keep the pregnancy. Here are excerpts.
There are some who delayed even after the symptoms fully manifested. I meet one of them, Agnes Dufie, as she prefers to be called.
Cancer. I didn't know it was cancer. All I know is that I saw some watery discharge.
Agnes is a 41-year-old mother of 3. It was confirmed after thorough investigations. Agnes might have acquired the disease over 20 years ago.
The surgery was done on 1st March. The doctors were those who encouraged me to opt for the surgery because it was not that dangerous.
Coincidentally, Agnes was 4 months pregnant when the cancer fully manifested, and this burdened doctors who were providing care. Dr. Thomas Coney, leader of her medical team, said securing the pregnancy was another priority for them.
For her, she will be perhaps the first patient to have cervical cancer, diagnosed early in the pregnancy, and we had to let her go to the 9 months, and then we took that baby out. But she will not be the first patient who has cervical cancer and got pregnant. We go in, take the baby out through cesarean section, because we can't allow her to deliver through the vagina because there is disease on the cervix. And then we do the surgical treatment for stage 1 disease. It is removal of the whole womb, removal of the cervix, removal of the upper 2-3 centimeters of the vagina.
Consultant obstetric gynecologist at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, Dr. Titus Bayu, also told the Super Morning Show it is disappointing that so little is done about a rather preventable disease.
This is something that can be prevented, and unfortunately we allow our people to go through this. And I don't know what value we place on the life of a Ghanaian.
Right.
If we value the life of every single Ghanaian, what does it speak to our conscience that we allow people to continue to suffer this way and die of something that can be prevented? And I think it's high time we look at it, because it's not something that is only affecting Ghanaians. It is something that was elsewhere, but in the developed world, the nations came together and took a decision.
Yeah.
You have countries that have decided, no more, our people are not going to die of this. And they took national decisions that have reversed the trend. What do we see in our situation? Each family suffers on their own, the caregivers suffer on their own and struggle with the patient till they pass on. There is no national concerted effort by authority to try and handle this. And I think it is time that at an opportune time like this, all those who can have a say in this, i.e. government, the Ministry of Health, the National Health Insurance Authority, and all of us, civil society, everybody must get involved in this.
Right.
And we must decide as a nation that enough is enough. If we can prevent this, let us prevent it.
What must we do to prevent it?
Yes, so it is very basic. It is not like rocket science. Others have done it. We just have to repeat what has been done.
And that's Dr. Titus Bayu there. It's time now for sports.
By the way, the documentary is on the Joy News channel tonight at 8:30. You want to make a date and watch it in full.
Cervix in crisis.
Let's do some sports now. And Benedict Owusu is here with the very latest. And Benedict, this tragic incident in Kumasi with the Kotoka game, it's one of those issues that is got a lot of people talking.
Actually, that's been a trending story since yesterday.
The sports ministry has a statement out.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm talking about trending sports story, not the. Well, the sports ministry also have condemned it, just as Asante Kotoko, the Football Association. They were actually the very first to condemn it. That was last night. And then Asante Kotoko themselves also condemned the misbehavior of some of the fans this morning. The sports ministry just became, before I came here, they released a statement. And I just want to go through the statement. It says the calls for calm in the various league centers in the country. And the ministry expresses its concern about the incident that happened at the Babaya Stadium. That was yesterday, where they talked about the history of the game. Asante Kotoko played host to Bekum Chelsea, with Chelsea won by a 1-0, and a fan of Kotoko was allegedly shot by a policeman. Well, they also in a statement mentions that the alleged act and whatever that led to it, the ministry appeals to all to exercise maximum restraint both on the field of play and at the stands. And also they call for a quick investigation into the incident and bring the culprits to order. They also call on the Ghana Football Association, the National Sports Authority, the security agencies to ensure sanity, safety and the protection of football loving fans, match officials and infrastructure of the various league centers. And lastly, they talked about the appeal to the officials who are appointed to handle league matches to display fairness to all and apply rules of the game without fear or favor.
A very interesting statement. One of the things that came to mind, if you watch the English Premier League, they don't use armed police officers anywhere near the stadiums. They have these stewards in yellow, very noticeable. And each 20 or so minutes before the game ends, you see them file along, and just to make sure that is the sort of thing that we need to be replicated.
Our situation is not peculiar to that of the English Premier League. We have a different situation here because over the years we've been used to our fans misbehaving. So normally when you go and you say you're going to put stewards there, it will even give them the edge because these guys are not armed. You know, at the point, some even suggested that we get military men in a stadium. You know how we are all very afraid of military guys because of how, you know, we think of them. You understand? So if we should go that way, then we'll give people the chance to do whatever they want to do. So yes, it's a good thing, but our culture and our orientation is not the same as
we want the
that of
passion.
those
We
people.
want the passion back, but definitely not this kind of
of
violent
course.
passion.
And
Love the game.
and this is just a third week of the Premier League. I mean, we
Love
started
the
the
game,
league on a
yes.
very good note. We had a very first Friday game against between Kotoko and Legon Cities at the Accra Stadium, which was well attended. Even for a second, when I got to the stadium on that Friday, I thought it was even a Sunday game. You understand? A lot of people came, and you could see that now ladies have actually started coming. Yesterday at the Accra Stadium, I saw so many ladies coming to the stadium.
You understand, nice ladies.
Oh, of course, like Emefa, so
We're bringing back the
we are
love,
bringing
we're
back the
bringing
love,
back the
and
love, yeah.
we have to ensure we do away with some of these things. And I hope that the Football Association will go hard on those that were involved in this.
Let's see how they handle the first big test for them now that the new Premier League is up and running. Thank you very much, Benedict. Now, they maintain they were invited by the Government Education Service via text messages for a meeting today to iron out issues regarding the postings. But that meeting did not happen. Instead, about 20 of them, including their executives or leadership, were arrested and detained by police for flouting the Public Order Act. That's the fate of yet to be posted graduate Teacher Trainees Association members who stormed the offices of GES to demand posting. 7 of them were earlier arrested, and about 11 more members were picked up later today and are currently being kept at the Accra Region Police Command. ACP Kwesi Fori gave us the following details about why the police had to make the arrest.
The teachers on their own, without recourse to law and order, decided to come here and disturb business activity in this environment. We are all aware that it is not only the Ministry of Education that is here, we have other government sectors here. And we came in the morning, spoke to them softly to go back, present their petition in a soft way. They refused, disturbing everybody in the vicinity. So the police arrested some of their leaders, 7 of them. Now, they decided to come back in their own way by misconducting themselves in and around the ministries.
What is your definition of misconduct? Because these are teachers who claim receive text messages from the Ghana Education Service to come and begin processes of they being posted.
Okay, when we talk of the kind of misconduct I'm referring to is disturbing everybody.
Now, some of the students insist that they got text messages, so they did not go there to demonstrate. We can listen to them.
Today, we moved from our various regions and then districts to this portion around 6 o'clock a.m. We had a message on our phone that we should all come along with all our particulars to the GES headquarters. The message came from GES.
Who signed the message?
HR.
Now, we've been speaking to the PRO of the Ghana Education Service, Cassandra Chuma-Mpofu, and they insist that they sent counter messages to tell them that the messages they received were fake messages, so they did not ask them to come to the GES offices.
Well, he's been trending on social media for days for his unusually quirky mannerisms in a viral video recording of a song to chastise or criticize, to just simply say, "Why did you break my heart?" His girlfriend who ditched him. You've done that to many men?
No.
Some men?
No.
One man? No man?
Are we talking about
Oh, that's a question.
Let's talk about Bosom Piyong.
Well, you mentioned the name pretty well. Atajwa is the name of the girl, right?
Yeah.
It bears no resemblance to Emefa Apawu. That track seems to be a way to let his heart out, to just vent that anger. The latest sensation has been talking about his motivation for the release of the song. Listen.
For the boys.
Sometimes I do. Snap touch now boom. No see say you. But I love you. And so
That's the sound of a man who's now arguably the most popular on social media in Ghana. For guess what? Heartbreak. Well, not that he's been breaking hearts, but from what we hear, he's been on the receiving end of a painful heartbreak from guess who? One Atajwa.
You know, girls, Mama Tia Kumache, Tina me representing. New life. Atajwa is my first take. My first. Atajwa broke my heart.
you fell in love with me for a long time. That's why I adore you.
It is the weird way he poses before the studio mic, syncing his lips to the lyrics and his coarse voice that's got everyone laughing. This heartbreak must have been truly painful.
Me being alone, I started remembering things like me kai noma. Charlie Norman we are jamming me, I'm a real homie. So I was in my emotions, in my feels. Then I just dropped that. I trusted her a lot. That's the mistake. Bible says you be enemy too much.
Sometimes I do. Snap that now boom.
His intriguing fashion and gestures make the video the more talked about, earning him mentions and the attention of Sarkodie.
Wow! What really inspired me a lot is mostly you are not about punchlines. It's about
the emotions.
That motivated me a lot. And me person make me rap with the phone say tell what me
At this rate, if Atajwa is looking, then she may be rethinking. Or maybe not. But if I were her, I would make the tough move and call for a reunion so we trend together. Who knows? It could be done through the power of his near sonic tune, Atajwa.
You killing me,
Let's go.
Ubu me fi, killing me. Your turn now.
Emefa on the beat, y'all. And that's it for News Night. Tonight, my name is Evans Mensah.
And I am Emefa Apawu.
Enjoy the rest of your evening.